I'm Jessi Allender, registered dietitian and professional chef, and I am here bringing you some cooking nutrition connections. In my old real life, before lockdown for the coronavirus, I was practicing early intervention registered dietitian with 0 to 3-year-old children with developmental delays. And what I am always is a mom. I've got my two here at home with me, my 8-year-old and my 4-year-old, and I'm about to make some lunch for tomorrow and some lunch for today. Here we go. So lunch for tomorrow is first because we're making some black beans. Here I have them. They are soaking. I'm going to drain them and get them in the Instant Pot. And here's my daughter rollerblading in the house. Whoa, and falling. Okay. Okay, everybody's all right. Go on. So I'm going to get these drained. So these are organic, dry bulk black beans that I bought a while back. And I soaked them last night at about 7 p.m. And right now it's 11:35 in Chicago. And they got all nice and big and rich and juicy, and they are going right into the Instant Pot. Sometimes, depending on what I'm making, I will saute in the Instant Pot first, like onions and ginger or garlic, something like that, low heat olive oil or whatever it is. But for these beans in particular, I'm starting with a boil, so they are going in first. But I am going to add some onion because I want some onion sweetness to be in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash my onion.
And your little boy.
Oh, there's my guy. There's Flash. Careful with that, bud.
No, remember I'm Spy Boy?
Oh, you're Spy Boy. He's Spy Boy. It's important to be a superhero these days. So I've got some sweet onion here. And because I'm not sauteing it first before it's going in, I am going to wash it. I'm going to put a pretty small mince on here. There we go, nice and small. I love washing an onion before I use it, especially like on salads or raw or pickled, but even before cooking, especially if I'm not going to saute it to bring the sugars, activate the sugars, I'm just going to get them in here. Then I'm going to add, this is the Instant Pot, right, so it's going to cook well above boiling. It's going to get super hot in there when it's on, and I'm going to put a whole bunch of garlic in here. I'm making what I consider, and please correct me if you feel different, to be a Mexican style of black bean today. A recipe I learned a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away on the north side of Chicago when I worked for an acclaimed, award-winning chef who specialized in Mexican food and still does. And I learned so much under his tutelage, and from my sous chef. I was a line cook there, and I just learned so much, not only from my chef and my sous chef, who were, my direct bosses, but also from the other line cooks. Just so many lessons I learned when I worked at that fancy Mexican restaurant, that high-end place. It was amazing work, and thank you. I am grateful. You know who you are. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. Thanks. I was young when I worked there. I'm adding some filtered water just up to my maximum line. It was filtered water that I soaked my beans in. Where's that line? There's that line. I want to cover them You know what? I didn't have so many beans. I'm not even going to fill it up with water because this is about the beans and I'm not making a soup. And then I'm going to put in some salt, a nice amount of salt, a little bit more. Good. About a half teaspoon all told, and that was about a cup and a half of dry beans before they were soaked. Oh, I wish you were here. This smells so amazingly good. This is epazote, and it's epazote that I bought fresh, and I hung it up to dry so it would be delicious. This is my favorite thing to put in with black beans. A lot of the markets around Chicago, you can find it fresh with the herbs. It's a really long leaf. Really, this is dried, of course, so you can't really tell, but it's a long leaf, and it, what does it smell like? I'm actually going to crush these into here. I'm going to take a nice big amount. That's good. I'm going to crush them up into here. I'm going to take that stick back out. Okay. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of white pepper. And I'm going to get those cooking. I'm going to put it on high pressure for 15 minutes. Turn it down to, I have a bean setting. That's the one, but it's set at 22 minutes, so I'm going to turn it down to, there we go. And I'm going to hit start. Instant Pot is going. I can't show you, but it's going to start cooking. And so now it's time to make today's lunch. Today's lunch is grilled cheese sandwiches because I need to get through that loaf of bread today. Get those things out. Don't want to put epazote in my grilled cheese sandwiches. That's no good. No real reason to soap wash my hands in between the two flavors. But I did cut onions on this board, so I'm going to go ahead and flip it over so I don't get a lot of onion into my grilled cheese sandwich. This is an old bread bag I saved. It was washed it out, dried it, and then my old produce bag that I washed out and dried. And here I go making my grilled cheese sandwiches. Watch out.
Yeah.
I'm about to switch the knife back. Good thing I looked for incoming rollerblading traffic.
Yeah. There's a lobber stealing my stuff. Go.
So again, just like the French toast this morning, some nice thick chunks of this semi-whole wheat. It turned out to be about 50-50 when I finished making it. Where did I put that? So that's whole wheat challah, and of course I need to slice my cheese in a way that's gonna fit on the bread. And I've got heat on my cast iron skillet here. And my other ingredient for this is butter. And some Tillamook orange cheddar cheese. My kids like that. I always buy cheese in blocks. I never buy it, I very rarely buy it sliced or in cheese sticks or in shreds. I don't buy it in shreds because I don't like having
On the background.
I don't like having all of that,
Yay.
I've forgotten what it's called, but it's a wood pulp that they use to make sure the cheese stays cellulose. They put the cellulose on it to make sure that the cheese stays separate in the shredded. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That should be enough. And so I'm going to butter my bread. The butter's still a little bit cold and the bread is a little bit fragile, so I'm not going to spread it out too much, but I am going to get a little bit more for the other piece.
I cut it with its rubber flag.
And then I'm going to go ahead and put my first slices down and get the cheese down on top.
Help, people.
Okay, no more rollerblading in the kitchen.
I have to have
And again, I'm going to use a really, really, really low heat and lots of attention, which sometimes I'm not so good at. I don't know what would distract me. Can you guys? I don't think so. Okay, I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and put my cheese on there and my cheese on there. And I'm going to put my lids on, but I'm going to get a little butter on them. I know, right? It's just the normal thing. So one of the things I talked about this morning, I don't think I mentioned it yet this afternoon, is about switching your default. If you switch your default from white bread to wheat bread, you're going to improve the nutrition, the redeeming nutritional qualities in your diet or whoever you're cooking for's diet. And these days with so much going on, I mean, I know it's hard to like stick to a diet or an eating plan, but you can if you want to. And so the other thing I'm going to talk about today is balancing lunches. I like to make sure that my kids have a balanced lunch. And so I always like to go back to my components. These things are all going to go on the same plate, so I'm going to use my cheese knife. I've got a cucumber here. Okay, go rollerblade in the hallway. She's got all the pads on. Thank you very much. Those were an incredible gift. Both the rollerblades and the pads were on our, well, the rollerblades were outside of a house. The family that had them, they were done with them. I knocked and said, "Are you sure you're done?" And they said, "We're sure we're done." So I took those home. And then the pads went out on our Parent Support Network list, which is amazing. Hat tip to the Hyde Park Parent Support Network. Oh my God. I like to give there. I like to get there. So we've got cucumbers, strawberries. I always go organic on strawberries. And when I serve them to the kids, I go ahead and I cut the greens off because I feel like it's just that much less hassle and that much less waste. Because when I leave the greens on, they, they bite close to them, but they don't get it all the way, and they leave so much juicy goodness on the strawberry. And one of the things I like to also talk about is like making sure that foods that you want your kids to be are available and broadening their repertoire. So one of the vegetables that my kids enjoy, and I hope your kids do too, are radishes. I'm getting out some radishes here. So I'm just going to cut them up, nice big thick slices. In with the cucumbers. Here we go. Get that green off of there. We just like radishes a lot in our house. So I serve them a lot. And, if you haven't tried them before, try them. They're a little bit spicy and refreshing, delicious. And what I do with the extra from lunch is I'm going to be having a salad while they're having, because I've mentioned before I'm gluten-free. I'm going to be having a salad while they're having their grilled cheese sandwiches and fruits and vegetables. And then, when they have too many vegetables, I'm going to claim some of those. So that's going to work out pretty well. I don't know. So that's going to work out. Cooking beans takes planning ahead, soaking overnight, and then cooking for a long time. If you don't have an Instant Pot, it can take 15 minutes in the Instant Pot is equivalent, I think, to about an hour and a half at 212 at boiling or simmering. Making grilled cheese is about patience, not too much heat, although I think I have a little bit too little, so I'm going to turn it up. I'm going to check them. But it's important to, this is my favorite spatula. I've shown this before, but I can show it again. I love this shaped spatula. It's the best Lots of planning, here it is. And then seasoning and balance, getting components on the plate, radishes, cucumbers, strawberries. I'm gonna cut them a couple more strawberries and get them these grilled cheese on the whole wheat bread, right? Because cheese is great food, and so is bread, and so that's a great option, especially when we're managing our leftovers and managing our resources in these rough times during the coronavirus. Thanks so much for checking in today. Stay well. Bye.